Chin's championship is starting to look more like a formality, though the game is far from over. Mathematically, it's possible to overtake him, but the stats are also pretty discouraging for his rivals. 6 wins from 4 poles, along with 5 fastest laps, stacks up some serious points. On top of that, his drop week makes it so that even if he DNF'd once in the next 2 rounds, Sirwa would still be behind. Can anyone stop him? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch Round 8 of the PRL Indy Pro 2000 series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel and the iRacing Esports Network. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Mid-Ohio is a track that sees these Indy Pro cars race here in real life. A long history with American Open Wheelers has gone down at this venue despite sports car being in the circuit name. Let's head to our track guide to learn a little bit more. Welcome to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Located halfway between Columbus and Cleveland, Ohio, this track has become a road racing staple in the Midwest. Despite its name, one of the biggest events of the year here is usually the visit from IndyCar. The full 2.25-mile version is what is most frequently used, but it also includes a chicane layout and a short course. While each one officially has 13 turns, they do have distinct differences. The chicane layout was the only version for the first part of its history, in which the keyhole included a bus stop-style back-and-forth jink on its entry. The short course simply bypasses the whole keyhole section altogether. The various turns have some rather famous names, such as China Beach with its downhill braking, inviting you into its eponymous sand trap, or Madness, which is a single-file set of S's with drastic elevation change. There's also the Carousel, and this more than 180-degree turn offers a variety of lines that can be taken. Perhaps the most unique feature of the track is that in the real world, starts are rarely taken on the pit straight. Instead, the green flag is given along the backstretch where an extra flag stand sits. Naturally, sports car racing is the main staple of the venue, but motorcycles have a long history here, and in more recent times, NASCAR has started to hold races at the track. It also hosts driving schools and days for amateur racers to get on the circuit. The Buckeye State is often more closely associated with dirt track ovals, but the amount of history and prestige in Mid-Ohio's events make it just as worthy of notoriety in the region. Mid-Ohio has been the scene of some of the most incredible fights we've seen here on GSRC, but it's kind of odd that that's the case, DJ, because this is kind of a circuit known for being very tough to pass on.
It is, Joe. Mid-Ohio is very much what they call a driver's course. It really challenges you the entire way around the track, but it doesn't provide any of those maximum overtaking opportunities. That said, as we saw when these guys came here last year in the PRL Indy Pro Series, you could see some good passes down into turn 2 into the keyhole or off the backstretch all the way down into turn 4 before China Beach. But in these open wheelers with low downforce, what makes this track so incredible and so difficult is the change in elevation. As this track goes over the natural curves of the Ohio landscape, it does something utterly unique. A lot of the curves have the crest of a hill right at the point where you want to be putting down the power on. And what that means is you've got to have a very, very soft right foot to be able to get this right and get a good lap around here.
Challenges plenty who try and take on this little circuit here in Ohio, but before we get to the racing itself, we want to remind you that today's broadcast is proudly sponsored by Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com. Now, let's take a look at the championship as well, starting with the pro drivers standings. 221 points for Josh Chin. Just incredible. And we're only 7 rounds in so far. So while about 28 back, his consistency has at least kept him hanging in there. But at this point, it's starting to become by a thread. Everybody else back there probably won't be really much of a factor unless we get something crazy from Josh Chin, such as completely missing the final 3 rounds. So Guyon, Legault, and Espedy are essentially fighting for scraps and probably the 3rd place come the end of the season. What about the AM standings? Is that any closer?
It certainly is. You see there, Dave Peterson currently on top with 186 points, and behind him is Owen McLaughlin, only 8 points back. Michael Broomhead, 14 points back of Peterson there. So those three all very, very much in contention. And keep your eye, too, on Kevin Santana and Tyler Gore. Gore's 32 points behind, but he's had a string of really good races, so he's going to hope to keep that momentum going. And I think, Joe, certainly this year, this is the championship to watch, as this is the close fight.
Dream always rise to the top, and well, we've seen a lot of that this season, and it shows in the team standings as well. Team talent made up of Chin and Espedy there for most of their points are first and fourth in the championship, but keeping them at least honest, 33 points back. That's actually not impossible to overtake by the end of the season. Lavoie Motorsports has second and third in the point standings, the pro driver standings. So definitely making sure that they're looking over their shoulder all the way down to the finale. RSR Esport, Blown Tranny Racing, and Beagle Vision round out the top five, with Blown Tranny and Beagle way far down the order, if we're honest. RSR Esports with a big, big gap up to Lavoie as well. Now, just in case we get viewers who have tuned in for the first time or just not familiar here, DJ, why don't you run down the race details?
Well, Joe, as you mentioned, we are on our 8th round of 10 in this series. We're running a 45-minute timed race with an open setup, so these drivers can choose whatever suits their driving style and whatever's best for this track. The only caveat being is that they do have a 65% fuel restriction, so they will have to come in and take fuel at some point during the course of the race. In terms of penalties, you get a drive-through at 11 incidents, and you get disqualified at 20, as well as we are going to have some bonus points available here today for pole, fastest lap, and if you're able to get around Mid-Ohio with 3 incidents or less.
Now we've got qualifying happening, and Josh Chin, who is dominant in the warm-up, is on the provisional pole position, but there is hope. David Serrois, who wasn't even behind him in the warm-up in timing, he was actually in third. He's in second and is back by half a tenth. So Serrois, at least at this stage in the qualifying, is making it look closer. Let's hope that he can keep that up in terms of race pace. David Rodriguez doing fairly well here in the qualifying as well. He currently holds the inside of row 2.
Rodriguez, who you see on screen there, making his way through Thunder Valley, not always the best qualifier, so really, really good laps from him there. And yeah, Joe, as you mentioned, real surprise there from Serrois to be that close, as now Andreas Ike goes to the top of the timing boards with a 1:16.356. That's a bit of a surprise here.
Oh, I believe he was fourth when I looked at one point. I'm not sure if he lost that during or by the end of the warm-up, rather. But still, it is incredibly tight. Our top three are split by just under 6/100ths of a second. So they're going to have to find something special here. I almost wonder, since we do have teams out there, do you think it's worth in these final stages maybe trying to get your teammate with you to get a little bit of a slipstream down ways like towards the Keyhole or towards China Beach?
I was actually thinking that a little bit earlier. It is a good idea if you can do it. The problem is that straightaway is not nearly as long as the ones where we've really seen that come into play on places like Road America. But if it can gain you that extra tenth of a second, and with as close as this top of the field is, I think it's certainly worth going for.
The other driver to take a win this season is Declan Eady, and he's currently sitting in 5th position right now, about 4/10 off of our pole sitter. This is Aaron Roofs down into the line in 8th spot. That last one not going to be an improvement, though. There's David Serrois, who actually just went up to the pole, and as soon as he gets it, Joshua Chin takes it away by 4/10 of a second.
Holy moly, that is a lap from Josh Chin. You know, in practice, he was running about a 1:15.6. We weren't sure if he was going to be able to replicate that with the changing conditions, but able to put it down here. Chin just absolutely asserting dominance on the field.
Goodness, Chin is the guy that hits the home run and then walks to the first base before it even gets close to the outfield. He knows when he has got it. And right now, he has put a marker in the sand for everybody else to try and match him. Now, from what we saw in warm-up, it didn't seem that anybody could be able to, but then it started out close here. So still 6 minutes to go. There is a chance to try and make this a tight fight. Our highest driver in the AM qualifying has actually been who's been quickest in many of the AM qualifying sessions, and that is Kevin Santana. Now, unfortunately, that 666 car, who is good in qualifying, often is a little less consistent in the race.
Yeah, definitely able to string together a hot lap or two there for Santana, but not able to capitalize. Really sort of exemplified by his fourth place in that AM championship as we see David Sirwa going across the line. I think that was a warm-up lap, putting in a 121 as he's going to start now as we watch David Hebert working his way out of the carousel and back onto the main straight. He is going to be unable to improve on his best time.
Continues around, Chin's back on track to still see if he can improve, but he's starting a new one. This is Adam Wright, checking to see if we've got any other challengers coming through. Santana just had a problem, don't need to go to it, but he had an off track, so that's going to set him back on this one. I see Andrew Wood out there, actually surprisingly low for Wood compared to his pace of recent. The 32 is in 7th place and almost a second off of the pole position.
Yeah, you know, Joe, this is really a love or hate track, so it may just be a situation with Wood that he doesn't have the feel of it. You really have to feel what the track is doing in your bones. It's a really hard one to try to manhandle like we talked about and come to grips with. And so it may just be a little bit of an off day for Andrew Wood, but I hope he proves us wrong as we watch Aaron Roofs coming across the line, able to improve just a little bit there. That'll keep him, or bump him up one spot into 8th. This here comes Sirwa across the line. Can he get better? He can with a 16.177, but that is still going to be a whopping 0.3 off of Josh Chin.
Just, my goodness, I'm flabbergasted. This is like watching some of Schumacher's qualifyings and the way he would just dominate the field. Let's see, this is Josh Chin coming around to complete another lap, but that one was not quicker. So he's still getting the car spooled up. Let's see who else is coming down. And it looks like, Matthew Hall showing how not to do that final corner. You know, that's one of those turns that I feel like, depending on the car, it can be either incredibly unassuming or ferociously dangerous.
Very much so, and a lot of it depends on your setup. You know, this is a track that does have these long straights, so you think you want to kind of optimize, run a little bit of lower downforce. But in reality, if you do that setup, you are really going to compromise yourself in those sweeping corners like that. Turn 13, as we watch Andreas Eick there, barely getting it through there, unable to improve, only about a 10th back. He still sits in 3rd.
Arnett down in 24th. And he does improve by half a second. That'll put him up to 23rd, though, unfortunately. Not much of an improvement. Edie just crossed the line, not able to go any quicker, stays in P5. Sirwa was on a slow lap, I believe. I thought I saw him letting people by, so getting himself ready for a charge. Roofs, in the meantime, has that one not count, so he must have had an off track somewhere around the circuit. Down to 2.5 minutes left to go. Enough time for maybe 2 more laps for our cars on track. Saw Nathaniel Ward there coming through, followed by Duhamel, who unfortunately not able to go quicker than that 17.4. So what about Dave Peterson in 20th position? Across the line, trying to improve on a 17.8. Oh, wow, he is less than a 10th off, but that's not going to do it. He'll cycle around for another go.
He'll want to keep pushing here and see what he can do. Hopefully he's got enough fuel in the tank to do it. As we watch here, Andreas Eick currently 3rd. He's going to come across the line here, able to improve just a little bit there, up to a 13.2, but not going to be fast enough for him. As here comes Michael Broomhead coming across the line. I think that's a warm-up lap for Broomhead, way off the pace there.
Appears to be the case. Declan Eady one more time. Oh, and a 16.496. What's that going to do? Well, not a lot, apparently, as he stays put in 4th. So a tiny little improvement. Seems like other drivers are finding something out there, but that something is not enough. Aaron Roofs is the next to give it a go from 8th, and that one will only be a 17.5 for him that time by. Another one from Nathaniel Ward.
And you saw it.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Joe. I was going to say, you saw it there pop up on your screen that one of those drivers able to improve a little bit. Joshua Chin upping his time to a 15.7 dead. So that puts him almost a full half a second up on the field.
Just phenomenal. 27 cars have all taken laps so far here in the qualifying. 27 entries so far. So we should get everybody in place. Ike, 16.3. So that should, no, it does not bump him up any higher. He stays in third. Another one that just can't quite get enough underneath him. Here's Sirwa, currently sitting in second with half a second to try and make up. And it's a 16 flat. That is close, but only brings it within 3/10 of Joshua Chin. It's interesting that we're seeing so much improvement here. The track conditions haven't changed a whole lot since we first started coverage. It's about 84 degrees Fahrenheit out there.
No, I think these guys are deliberately setting up for a little bit of longer qualifying runs, making sure that they can get maximum heat in their tires. 84 is a relatively cool temperature for what you think of running in these open wheel cars. So I think that's what they're banking on is Sean Duhamel. They're unable to improve as the checkered flag flies here for qualifying.
Next cross is going to be Sirwa, followed by Wildridge. And the number 9. As this is the last opportunity, if they are on a flying lap and cross the line before the checkered flag waved, they are allowed to finish this. Up and over the leap into Thunder Valley. Car looking a little bit unstable coming over that crest, but he holds on to it. That cost him valuable time. His last one through was his quickest lap so far. He needs to go one better, and by quite a margin, he doesn't think he can, as he's going to come into pit lane. Wildridge will as well. Aaron Roofs is going to attempt it. And the number 26 down into the timing line. No, 16.8's not going to be quicker for him. What about Guyon? The number 808. He's got a 16.7 as his fastest. A 16.9 will certainly not do it for him, as Nathaniel Ward will be next here. DJ?
As Ward's going to cross the line as we watch over with Scarelli. Ward able to not improve for the look of it as Scarelli's going to come real squiggly there coming off of that last corner. He's able to improve though, 18.9. That's going to bump him up to about 26th position.
Be the last of our runners in the qualifying. It is over now. Let's go through your starting order for today. Josh Chin with a serious pole position time, and David Sirwa a distant 3.5 of a second. Andreas Ike temporarily hold that pole position, but wound up in third in the end. He'll be flanked by Declan Eady to his outside. David Rodriguez starting in 5th will be followed by Nathaniel Ward in P6. Alex Guyon starts 7th. You've got Andrew Wood in P8 and Aaron Roofs in 9th. Our first AM driver is going to be Kevin Santana starting in 10th.
Starting off in 11th is going to be Jean-Francois Mattei, followed by Owen McLaughlin, our second AM driver. Matthew Hall is going to line up in 13th, followed by Paul Wildridge, Olivier Legault, and Eric LeBlanc taking up row 8 behind them. Adam Wright and Sean Duhamel back there in row 9, and in 19th, Michael Broomhead, followed by Dave Peterson, your AM points leader, in 20th.
Ronald Gore starts 21st with Matthew Gunderson in 22nd. It's Daniel Barnett starting 23rd with Donald Olson in the 24th position. Barry Cochran for P25, Tyler Scarali 26, and last time on the board is David Hebert in 27th position. Split by nearly 5 seconds among them, with the lap being only 1:20. I have to wonder if lap traffic could be an issue come later in the day.
I certainly think it could be, and if you are one of the leaders, you're Josh Chin, David Sirra, Andreas Ikes, you're going to be praying to hope against hope that you do not catch that lap traffic through China Beach or the S's, as that will completely and totally wreck your race, really throw off the feeling of the car as you lose downforce following behind a car like that.
The last of them to line up here and get going for the racing today. 45 minutes that they'll be running on Mid-Ohio's sports car course. Of course, your pace car going to lead them off once they all make their way out. Here's our front row now, both up there. David Sirwa planting his car onto the grid. Small change in weather, 82 degrees Fahrenheit, so it is dipped down just slightly here, or at least on the track surface itself. We should clarify 72 air temperature that the drivers have. And now we get rolling out of Thunder Valley and up across one of the more difficult turns here, turn 11 into the carousel. It's not a long pace lap as they do start most of the way through, so they won't be able to warm their tires too drastically. Waiting for the pace car to be in. Porsche is in, and green flag is immediately out. No wait for Josh Chin. That gives an excellent opportunity for Ike, who slips into second place past David Serrois. Teammates of Indy and Rodriguez get in line in fourth and fifth, respectively. And that actually might have been a good thing there, DJ, because they were pretty much single file through turn one.
They were. You avoid that carnage that you so often see as you've got a spinner there behind you. I think that's Barry Cochran there losing out. But we're going to stay here on these leaders as they're going to come down this long run out of the keyhole for the first time. It looks like that's Declan Eady turning to take a look there at David Serrois for third. He may try to make a move into China Beach.
It's not to do so. Ike was close. Oh, and a little bit of a look after the apex for Eady. Very fast through the mid-corner. Almost sets him up coming into the S's, but Serrois fends him off. Interesting stuff. Interesting pace from the two teammates of Rodriguez and Eady here on the first lap. They're being followed by Nathaniel Ward back there in sixth place. Up and over the lead. A bad exit for Andrew Wood as he spins the tires up. Just about finishing one complete lap here at Mid-Ohio.
And I really have to give credit there on that opening lap to Joshua Chin, just absolutely perfectly anticipating when that green was going to come, was able to catch David Serrois out napping, and Serrois has to be kicking himself right now after that start, as that's really, really going to put a kibosh on any sort of championship hopes that he may have harbored.
At our first major incident, Adam Wright unfortunately drove himself off the track and into the wall as we go side by side into the keyhole. That would be Wood losing out to Nathaniel Ward. Ward takes sixth place away, but is he going to have to give it back? Slipstream in the favor of Andrew Wood. Just stalking him, trying to pull up. But like you mentioned earlier, it doesn't seem to be working hard enough, and he doesn't manage to get the overlap.
No, he doesn't, and I'm starting to wonder a little bit if maybe the way to make that pass here today is going to be the way that you saw Declan Eady thinking about doing it, going through that last time, sort of poking your nose out into turn 5, as we're going to follow Declan on board here. Whoo, big kick over opposite lock there, trying to catch the car coming through Thunder Valley.
Right on the gearbox of that car ahead. Sticking with him as they now come through into the front stretch, the pitch straight, and he's still making sure that he can't make any mistakes here, but you have to give Nathaniel Ward that he is managing this one well until there. Bad exit off of turn 1. Here comes Wood looking to the inside. He's going to outbrake him into the keyhole and get the spot right back from where he lost it. Squaring it off is a very wide line for Nathaniel Ward. Can he manage to get the run that he needs? It doesn't look like it. He's even farther back than Wood was to Nathan earlier on.
Really, really heads-up play there from Andrew Wood, just being able to position the car. You know, that corner is it is an off-camber corner, and you don't really expect it to be. So if you get out wide there, like Nathaniel Ward did, it is very hard to collect the grip. So I think Wood knew that he could position the car just right and force him out wide.
We'll look at P3, because Declan Eady has been climbing over the rear wing of David Serrois. And here you see them heading up over turn 11 and into the carousel. Now this was even closer through the S's. Eady had less than a car length between them through much of that series of corners. They come onto the front stretch. It could be just a matter of time, or maybe this could be a little bit of difference in setup.
I think it might be, as you know, I was watching Sirwa during that qualifying, and it looked like he was maybe running a little bit more trimmed out. His car was looser coming through the high-speed corners. But now we're going to have to see, with Edie having a good run here, he's going to take a little bit of a wider line to get a more powerful exit off of the keyhole. I don't think he's going to be quite close enough to make something happen here, but he's certainly at least trying to pressure David Sirwa, and at a track like this, that pressure can lead to a mistake, and a mistake can send you right into the gravel.
And closes up. This is how close he was last time when I was watching. So can he do anything with this is the question. It's one thing to get right up behind him here in this section. It's almost impossible to pass, though.
Yeah, really, once you've...
Whoa! And there goes off and into the barrier. Spins the car around. He just tapped his nose on it. The 013 trying to get it turned around. There you can see him having to do a full K-turn just to get it pointed in the right direction. And that sent him down to 19th just from that one flip up. Here's the replay.
You watch it here as they work their way down, and I think what happened is he just got on the power. Yep, it's right on the crest of that hill like we talked about at the top, Joe. That turn 9, the corner falls away from you. You have to be late on the power, otherwise you spin out, and that's exactly what happened to Declan Eady. Just got the power down too early, and that sent him careening into that tire barrier.
Very lucky. It doesn't appear to be much in the way of damage on the front wing, although now he gets overtaken by Gunderson, and that demotes him down into 20th on top of things. Just a nightmare scenario for Declan Eady. Don't think he's going to be the winner of this round, unfortunately. Meanwhile, we've been having some back and forth battles between Broomhead and Wildridge. This is for 15th position, heading into madness now, and Wildridge has got the edge.
Good way to do that there. You'd think that Broomhead would have the advantage on the inside there. Whew, getting a little squirrely there coming through those corners. But just knowing exactly where to position that car as they come over that crest there. There you can see a really good example of what I was talking about with the crest of that hill. Now for Broomhead, he's just got to keep his head down and tuck up behind him. He is close enough here from what we've seen. This is about the distance. He will be able to get a good effect at the draft off the keyhole. It's just a matter of if he can keep it close through turn 1.
That very swift corner, so trying to withstand the wake will be difficult, and he falls back almost immediately. Broomhead losing out right when he needs it. Behind him, Peterson and Gore giving watch. They know if this battle gets any more fierce, they have potential to maybe sneak one through. Way off and into the grass. Poor exit for Broomhead, having to keep the car from spinning, but somehow he actually keeps the momentum up quite well. I thought for sure that Peterson would be on the attack right here.
I thought he would be too, Joe, but great job from Broomhead to keep that power down. I think he just had his foot down the entire time and said, I don't care what surface I'm on, I'm going to keep going. But, and there you see a little bit Dave Peterson doing what Dave Peterson does during the course of these races. You know, the reason why he is leading the AMP championship is because he is just a methodical driver, picking guys off one by one and forcing them into mistakes.
In 4th place, Rodriguez, who was following his teammate, is now well ahead of him, but Wood has got himself together in his tussle with Nathaniel Ward. He's since found a little bit of pace, left him behind. It is on the attack with the number 15 in his sights. They come up into the keyhole, hitting the brakes up and over the crest, trying to get the launch off the corner. We look back from Rodriguez over his rear wing at Andrew Wood. But we've seen this story a lot already. Wood needs to be much closer than this.
He really, really does, although he's getting a great effect of that draft there. You can see that brown wood-colored machine just really, really closing up. He's going to be able to keep it relatively close through China Beach, but I think he'll start to fall off during the S's like we've seen time and time again. Just looks like the draft is not having the effect that you would expect it to today.
Fortunate, because that's going to make it all the more difficult to try and overtake down into China Beach. Boy, track is upped in temperature. Remember, it went down a little bit. It's up to 87 Fahrenheit now. So it's strange to see it cool down that drastically and then suddenly heat up that much more. Did Andrew Wood make a mistake, or was he trying to take that line on purpose? He comes out the other end just about even to where he was before, but was way off of the middle of the carousel there.
Yeah, almost put his right tires in the grass. You know, I get the idea of trying to do that on those last couple of corners. You want to straighten them out as much as possible, but I hate to say this to Andrew. I think that may have been a little bit more of a mistake than a planned move. But as he gets out of the keyhole there, it gets a little bit squirrely. The front of the car just not getting the grip that he needs, and he's going to be farther back now than he was on the last lap to Rodriguez, as this battle for P4 really starting to sort of separate out a little bit as time goes along.
Overtake for 10th place is Kevin Santana. 11th place, actually, I believe. Santana, unfortunately, no, it was for 10th, was taken by Matthew Hall. The 911 just out accelerated him off of the keyhole. And now you can see that car has the spot. Next on his list is Jean-Francois Mattei up ahead.
And he's going to come up behind him, but it looks like Santana may not be going away quietly here, trying to keep at least a little bit pace there through Thunder Valley. He's going to fall back a little bit, taking a sort of a strangely wide line there in the middle of the track. Not really expected line through there, so not sure what Santana's doing.
Can we get a replay on Alex Guyon? The 808 made a phenomenal pass in turn 11 of all places. This was gutsy. Now watch, you're going to see that is Roofs ahead of him making the mistake. He sees the mistake and he tries to position his car around the outside and somehow still gets it done. That is a rare sight.
That's one of the best passes I've ever seen here in Mid-Ohio. Really, really great move there from Guyon, just letting that momentum carry him out and around. And once again, Joe, like we talked about, the crest of that hill, catching Aaron Roofs out.
So drivers having to get a little bit brave for these overtakes, it seems, because the difficulty is a little bit higher than we thought it would be. Down into that same spot where Roos made the mistake last time. Can he keep it clean? Because he's still got two more behind him. Mattei and Hall, who we were just watching right before that pass happened. Not going to make the mistake this time, so Roofs learned his lesson. He continues on in P8.
As there you see everybody snaking their way through there, trying to line everything up. We're going to jump back to P13 here. This is a really great battle between Owen McLaughlin and Eric LeBlanc. LeBlanc following in that orange car. He's going to probably have to back off just a little bit. Yep, there you can see it. That checkup that you have to do if you're following behind another car through turn one.
That costs him the opportunity he wants up into the keyhole. But he does try to get that very wide entry line to set himself up. It doesn't appear to be working. Behind them, things are incredibly close with Broomhead and Wildridge, though. You can see that is Broomhead in the purple and white machine with a very good run and the desired inside line. Wildridge not defending, but he's good on the brakes down into China Beach. Is he too good? He is. He swings wide, almost puts it into the grass and has to check up.
Oh, I thought for a second he was going to make it there, but there you see Michael Broomhead's car just trying to step out on him. He's able to collect that. Dave Peterson behind these two and that blue and white car behind him. So he's looking to pick up on some scraps here, see what he can make out of it. Everybody tiptoeing down there through now Thunder Valley, as it looks like Broomhead maybe is going to be able to pull away a little bit. Of course, as I say that, Wildridge able to close up just a little bit more.
Boy, Edie's day just got worse. He got into the back of it. Looks like Tyler Scarali, who I think has damage. Here's the replay. It is in China Beach here. Scarali is going to go by to the inside. And then suddenly, I don't know why, I guess it almost looks like he parked it at the apex and Edie didn't recognize it and got into him. Since then, Scarali's actually in pit lane. I think his suspension got damaged from the touch.
Oh, yeah, you can see the wheel getting a little foobar there. I think for Declan Edie, you know, that was a situation that he saw Scarelli coming. My guess is that he probably anticipated him outbraking himself, went for the over-under move, and I don't think he really just anticipated how much Scarelli was going to have to slam on the brakes to not go flying off as we're jumping up here to P4.
Yep. This is between Rodriguez and Wood, and whoa, he was close coming through turn 11. Actually scared him off the apex a little bit. Rodriguez feeling it behind him. Nathaniel Ward staying close and trying to, once again, do everything he can to set himself up for the corner exits. Wood knows that he needs to get those runs wherever possible just to try and get an overtake in as the car's not gripping through turn 1.
It's not, but that is relatively close. We'll have to see what happens here. This is just about at the point where you'd expect him to be able to make it work if he can.
And Rodriguez, we're hearing, might have a little bit of damage.
There you can see it, Joe. Yeah, there's something wrong with his left wheel. I'm not sure if that's a sim error or if that's actual damage.
I don't think the car could move that fast with it like that. Yeah, there we go. It pops back into place. So that was just the internet being a little bit funky for a moment. Even still, he could have some damage, though. That was very bizarre. Might be why he's been feeling under threat. These are pretty low-slung cars, so I wonder if it's possible he hit a curb wrong somewhere, maybe damaged the under tray.
It's certainly not out of the question, and my experience has been on the sim as you see Josh Chin doing what Josh Chin does best, which is putting on another fastest lap. My experience has been if you get those little glitches and errors, it normally does come as a result of either an off track or a little bit of contact. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's gotten a wheel just very slightly wrong.
They all split apart slightly here on this lap with 30 minutes left to go. We're starting to get within the window for pit stops. Guyon and Roofs now behind them, having a little bit of a battle. Roofs still trying to get this spot back from the 808. That brave overtake that Alex managed. Going to be a little bit more straightforward for Aaron, it seems, as he's already well clear by the time they get to the braking of China Beach. So move Roofs back into 7th. Guyon now suddenly very much under threat. Jean-Francois Mattei all over him. Things getting a little bit bottled up here in the mid-pack.
Yeah, just getting a little bit of the cork on the top of the bottle there is Mattei. Oh, who's that off? I think that's that looks like it's Rodriguez. Rodriguez is off behind him.
Oh no. And he's missing his front wing. This one might be legitimate. I think he spun coming over the leap here and then was just kind of stuck in the middle of the track. Here's the replay. 15 is going to turn in, and the car is not going to agree with that move. Wow, yeah. Wood did a great job to avoid that.
Amazing job from Wood. It looks like on that. Who is that caught him there, Joe?
I'm trying to figure it out. It was, let's see, Wood is into pit lane, strangely, and he was not the one that hit him. It was Kevin Santana. Oh, no. It happens again. Now, Santana actually still coming. Here's Santana's perspective. He's got to be severely damaged because he's actually being overtaken right now. Wow. You couldn't even, from that onboard, there's just no sign there was a car there.
No, none at all. And that blind crest just really coming to bite Santana. You can see it here as he's coming around. His car looks fine, Joe. I'm kind of floored by that. As you saw that left rear, it's suffering some damage for sure. I saw some front wing damage as well, but everything looks to be hunky-dory there for Kevin Santana.
The wheel does seem straight. That's odd. I think it may have gave him a little bit of something because, like I said, he was slow in a straight line, and here he comes. So, yeah, he's got to get some damage repaired. So he comes in and looks for his pit stall. Wood, by the way, after his pit stop, is out in 18th position. That 7th place battle is not over yet. It is now actually Ward up at the front of that group. Roofs has gunned down the number 48 and is looking to see if he can get up one more position. Guyon trails him. Then you've got Jean-Francois Mattei, Matthew Hall, and Olivier Legault This is becoming a bigger and bigger train, despite losing a couple along the way.
Yeah, and it doesn't really look like anybody's holding anybody up. This is just everyone's natural pace here by the looks of it. As you see just everybody working their way through the S's there. You know, Ward's running competitive lap times with everybody around him. So this is just some good best of the best running.
That's slow. Is that a lapped car? Yeah, that's Cochran. So that's just him letting everybody by. Saw that there was a huge pack. He's not fighting anybody, so he's going to let the field through, not to cause any sort of dramas. Josh Chin, in the meantime, for those wondering, 7 seconds over Andreas Eich. Just no comparison between these two. Eich is still having to look in his mirrors every once in a while because David Serrois is about 1.2 seconds back. Now, that's going to come into play if Eich makes a mistake or if he starts to hit traffic at the wrong place. But for now, he can at least breathe a little bit easy knowing that Serrois can't do anything from that far behind.
He can't, as you watch Josh Chin here working his way around the track, up and over that there. You know, he did this last year as well. Chin, there is just something about this track. He can just pull away like nobody's business. I dare I say it is a Scott Dixon-esque performance from him. Dixon, obviously, very, very comfortable, renowned at being one of the best here.
Yeah, all the wins that he took for sure. And didn't do so well this year, unfortunately, but his reputation still stands up for him. Josh Chin continuing to streak away amongst some of these lapped cars who have either stopped early or run into issues. Let's check back in on that battle for fourth with Ward leading a whole slew of cars. Roos started to get close to him again for a little while and then had to drop back one more time. That is Roos that we see in the blue and yellow machine.
Yeah, having to back off just a little bit through that first turn like we've talked about. You can't follow too closely there, but everybody's now going to work their way through the keyhole. Roofs doesn't exactly get the run off of there that he wants, and so everybody's going to stay relatively spread out. As you look in the background there, that is Jean-Francois Mattei and Matthew Hall that are running close together.
Ooh, yeah, this might actually be an overtake. Hall going to look to the inside as they come into China Beach, but this is the outside for the next corner. Madness might hold him back. He's not going to give it up. He tries to keep it side by side. This is where things start to get sketchy as they're both trying to hold the line, and finally Hall has to give it up. Mattei stays in P7. That slowed them up significantly. Look at Legault and Edie suddenly on top of them. Edie is a lapped car, though, so he is not here for position.
He's not, but just incredible driving there between Mattei and Hall. That is ultimate trust between drivers where you just know that you can be aggressive and the guy's not going to turn in on you. So really putting on a good show for everybody, and kudos to them.
Round turn one more time. This has been some of our tightest fighting in this group so far in this race, and we've just about hit that halfway point. Ooh, way wide into the corner. Hall opens up the door for Legault, and Legault's going to step through. He manages to get by as they go by David A. Bear. Legault up to 8th position now. Hall doesn't have a response. Edie sits and watches, wishing he could be on the same lap and part of this fight.
Yeah, and for Matthew Hall there, I think he just tried to diamond off that corner a little bit more than necessary, taking a super wide line in, and then on his exit, it looked like he got his left tires over into the grass as Josh Chin does yet another fastest lap. But it looks like here, David Hall going to be willing to fight back a little bit, or Matthew Hall, excuse me, going to be willing to fight back a little bit on Legault. He's not going to let that position go quiet.
Through the carousel, onto the front stretch. Let's see if Hall can get close enough behind him on the run up to the keyhole as Josh Chin has stopped into the pits. Should be a scheduled stop for him. Actually, maybe not. Chin is in quite long. Oh, Chin is at a wreck. Chin is at a major wreck. This happened out of turn 1 about 50 seconds ago. This was all of his own doing.
All right, here he comes. He's coming down that short pit straight here. Gonna line into turn 1. He looks like he's got a little bit wide, clips the grass and goes right into the tire barrier. Oh, Joshua Chin, really the second mistake we've seen him make all year long.
Wow. And that's severe damage with no spare car. Not sure that he's going to be able to get back out. Andreas Ike is also in, though. So this will hand the lead over David to David Sirwa temporarily. Though these two were in a fight, so if Ike has a poor pit stop, he could be under threat from the number 19 as he takes tires. This one also, yes, scheduled stop, 7 seconds in and out. And on his way, relatively clear of traffic, depending. Nope. He might get overtaken by Edie. No, okay. Edie, yeah, should not have to fight him. So that shouldn't slow him down too much, I imagine, once he gets up to pace.
No, it shouldn't, and he'll actually get the benefit of a little bit of draft there coming down out of the keyhole, so that may end up helping him as he goes around. I've got my eye on David Sirwa as he's working his way now through the S's. We'll have to see what he does, as this is now the battle for P1. Chin, as you saw there, out of this race.
Remember that even though Sirwa is his main rival, he's got to get as many points as possible just because he is so far behind. So it is important that he tries to get the win here today. He does not pit this time. He's going to stay out. For those wondering, Joshua Chin's drop points are 23 of them. What that means is even if he does not score today, which I think he will, but if that score is lower than the 23 that he had in round 6, those 23 points will suddenly be added to his score, as his drop week will now become this week instead. So even if, well, we assume at this point that Sirwa will outscore him, he is only going to make small inroads on that big 28-point gap.
Well, and what's interesting, Joe, is that we head to Richmond next week. You know, it's a short track, it's an oval. That throws a little bit of unpredictability in it. So this championship may not be as done and dusted as we thought.
This is almost exactly what he needs, really, to have a shot at things from here. If Chin would have won and Sirwa would have finished in 3rd place, it would have been all done bar the shouting. As he continues on around, he's got a huge margin over those behind him too. Aaron Roofs, who is yet to pit, is about 16 seconds behind. Next one is probably Andrew Wood, as I think he was in among that group. He has already pitted, but so he could cycle back around. He's been having to go through a few cars. In fact, he's in amongst them right now. That's Hall and a Bear. Roofs is in. Guyon comes in, so a few more drivers coming to pit lane, which will promote Ike back up to 4th at this point.
It will, and what's going to be interesting here to see is if that undercut works versus the overcut that Sirwa is going for. My experience has been these cars really come alive when you get lighter fuel. And so I think there's a chance that Sirwa may be able to pull something out of his hat here. Last lap, he was significantly faster than Ike, although I think Ike was getting his tires up to speed, so that may not be a perfect comparison. But at the same time, light fuel in these cars, you can tell.
Well, I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter if he's getting up to speed with his tires, because if Sirwa pits, that's 2 seconds. It's a 2-second difference between them. Yeah, so I was going to say, now was the critical time that David needed to come down the lane to see if he can get track position over Andreas Ike. Will this work? There is the timing that you can see. He has to beat. The top is in the box, and the bottom is from cone to cone. Ike is down into the carousel as Sirwa already taking his tires. This could be close. Andreas on the front stretch. Sirwa's moving. I think he might have it. Here comes Andreas off of the corner. And yes, with his speed up, David Serrois with a big gap over Andreas Ike, whose last lap was still slower at a 1:17.3.
Man, oh man, Serrois had such an advantage there. He was able to stay out ahead of Jean-François Mattei, who hasn't pitted yet. That's that orange car separating the two of them, as well as Declan Eady there, a lap car in between. But amazing run there for Serrois, doing exactly what he needs to do here.
Got to bring it home. Does Ike have better pace once he gets those tires up to temperature? Mattei obviously will provide a good buffer for at least a short while before he has to come into pit. We're still waiting on Mattei and McLaughlin, as well as Hebert, the last two that need to come and take a stop. That was Edie that you saw just having a little bit of an off track coming through the leap. Edie at this point just trying to rack up a few points throughout this race, since he is still down in 20th and has little shot to make up many positions. There goes Mattei. He is in. I believe McLaughlin going to join him. Yep, that's the end of the line for our pitters. We jump back here. Is this Roofs that we're watching? No, this is Legault, actually. Peterson very much under threat from Olivier. His number 88 filling up our gearbox camera that Dougie's set up here. Wow, if he's able to follow this closely through turn one. Oh, and Peterson got on the radio, told him to go by. So he is not interested in fighting this one too hard. Legault gets an easy one that time.
No, Dave Peterson, like we talked about at the top of the broadcast, just kind of playing a head game with those AM championship points. He is currently third in AM championship, as we're going to jump over to Andrew Wood, going side by side there with Alex Gaillon. Who's going to have the advantage coming out of China Beach? It's going to be Andrew Wood.
Wood with a lot more on his tires at this point. Gaillon still maybe getting them a little bit up to temperature, as he's only been out for about 2 laps, so that'll demote him to 6th place. Wood up to P5, having started this race in 8th position. We're down to less than a third of the race to go, and we've got 19 drivers left on the lead lap. One of the biggest stories, though, is Josh Chin, who, by the way, is back out and running, trying to salvage something. He's in 23rd, but he is 4 laps down.
You know, Joe, I think for Chin, he's just trying to keep an eye on his championship, maybe trying to protect that fastest lap time, as well as just racking up a little bit here and there. So doing what he can to stay on top of things.
So curious, who's got the fastest lap? Does he still have it? A 16 flat 3.3. So it looks like he does. I do believe that Josh Chin holds the fastest lap currently. The other thing I think he's doing too, he knows that if he just sits there, that's not going to help him. If he gets out and he gets some positions by doing this, even if he's running slow, that could help him down the line. That allows him that buffer potentially. So I wonder if he's trying his darndest to make sure he doesn't let championship slip away, despite winning a Lions Haul of races.
Most certainly, as you see him working his way onto the pit straight there. Yeah, I think for Chin, it is a matter of just that. It is just making sure that he can get whatever points he can and minimize the bleeding to David Serrois. He's still going to have a massive points advantage as we go to Richmond next week, but at the same time, Chin just wants to cover every base that he can.
Up at the front, Andreas Ike still at about 1.6 seconds behind David Serrois. Remember, Ike really isn't in this fight in terms of championship. He just wants the wins. He's actually down 14th in the points right now with a mere 2 top 5s and no wins so far this season. Serrois also winless. If he manages this will be the first time in 8 rounds this season that he's finished on the top spot.
But let us not take that away from David Serrois. He really has put in a great season, just sort of consistently finishing P2 over and over and over again. So if he is able to pull this out, massive congratulations to David, as he certainly does deserve it.
drivers continue to weave their way around. We're down to 11 left to go. The fourth place fight that has been on and off and on and off and on and off is Aaron Roofs and Andrew Wood. Guyon still holding on to Wood even though he's been overtaken recently. And actually Andrew looking awful tidy off the final carousel. Can he get himself a shot into the keyhole? They swing it through turn one, and he is much better down to the apex as he comes up behind. Looks to the right side. Roofs is not going to defend. He'll leave the door open. Maybe looking for an over-under here potentially, looking for the better exit, and I think he's going to get it, if just slightly. Wood knows it. He immediately ducks down to the inside, making sure that he doesn't give the desired line away into China Beach. Wheel to wheel. It's a game of chicken under braking, and who is going to get it? I believe Andrew Wood will retain that fourth place with a great move that took a couple corners, but he gets it done.
Really incredible driving there from Wood as Roof starts to think about coming back to the inside, forced to back off as he runs over the curb. That may open him up to Guyon. But what's really incredible here, Joe, is the fact that Andrew Wood's tires are 8 or 9 laps older than Aaron Roof's. I mean, it's just remarkable he's able to have that much grip and able to put it down in areas where we haven't seen anybody else really be able to up to this point.
Phenomenal stuff from the number 32. That'll get him into fourth place. By the way, I did some looking, and a 23rd position will get 8 points for Josh Chin right now. Obviously, that's not a lot of points, but again, if it comes down to drop weeks, because in the final round, they cannot use a drop week. So if he DNFs, he needs those 8 points. Meanwhile, as they come out onto the backstretch, Andrew Wood leaving Aaron Roofs behind, and Roofs has got to start looking in his mirrors once again because Alex Guyon is getting bigger in them.
He certainly is, and we've seen this happen time and time again. Aaron Roofs taking a little bit of an earlier entry to that corner. We're riding on board now with Alex Guyon. You can really see the wonderful elevation changes of this track and just how incredible it is. Really remarkable there. Roofs just has so much more speed through that turn 6 start of the S's. Never able to really capitalize on it, but we'll have to see if he's still got something in the bag for Andrew Wood as we close in just about 8.5 minutes to go in the race.
Being dangerous and attempting to do a little bit of math here on a broadcast. The difference in scoring, if things stand as they are and Chin gets the fastest lap, it will be 12 points difference between them in terms of scoring. So 28 minus 12 would be 16, I believe. So he'll chop it down to 16 points, it appears, by next round. Oh, whoa! Roofs is, well, I said he was ambitious before. That was almost unthinkable there, trying to get that car to the inside of the keyhole. I don't know what he was thinking. He's got a great run regardless. Maybe he's just trying to scare him off of the corner exit, and down into that corner. He manages to get to the inside, holds on around the outside as they come through. Car bobbles. He keeps the overlap, forces him from taking the apex, but Wood says, I don't need it. I'll keep that fourth place anyways.
Great defense there from Andrew Wood, knowing exactly where to position his car, but Aaron Roofs not going away by any stretch of the imagination. But this is where this gets interesting. That's Barry Cochran there right in front of him, lap traffic. He's going to try to get off to the side, but I think that's going to disadvantage Roofs. Yes, it is. Roofs has got to get off the power. That's going to put him back of Andrew Wood, so he may have to wait another lap here to really try to go after him again.
Really needed that right then. Things were getting so intense. I think he needed to reset, and he got his wish. So the 32 has himself about an 0.8 of a second buffer back to Aaron Roofs. This is not over by any stretch of the imagination, and one of our closest fights on track still. Everybody else has pretty much settled into the last few laps of this race, just trying to get into the end, including our leaders. Sirwa now 1.6 seconds, 1.8 seconds actually, ahead of Andreas Ike. There you see our Canadian leader currently.
David now just really, really trying to focus in, make sure he can keep that gap where it is. He hasn't been growing it by leaps and bounds, but he's just been doing it sort of millisecond by millisecond over the course of the laps. I've been keeping my eye out of the corner of my eyes on him. Really, really good job.
Just got fourth. I think, yeah, oh, this was a mistake. This is actually a fantastic catch by Wood. If we can get a replay on board. He is going to do a phenomenal save, even though it loses him a spot. Just starts to lose it under braking, snatches it, but the damage was done. There goes Roofs.
Andrew Wood there thinking he was in Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift for a second, trying to come through that corner. But really, really good catch. This could be, Joe, where you're starting to see those super old tires come into effect for Wood, just losing grip at the little bit of the entry of there he goes wide.
Once again on the corner exit, car did not want to use the grip that he thought was available. Guyon gets into fifth, and Hall actually gets into sixth. Wood falls to P7. Roofs now promoted up into fourth. Before that happened, I was looking over and I noticed a testament to the speed that first and second have had. Ward is 22 seconds back from the number 76 car. The number 48, who's the last step on the podium, is just way far down. And we now had a mistake for Roofs. Oh my goodness, what is happening out there? Multiple mistakes. This one eerily close to what we just witnessed with Andrew Wood.
Right, you see him here. He's going to be coming up over that. Oh, and he just gets too far onto the grass, gets his left tires over that rumble strip. He's able to save it, doesn't go into the wall, but that is going to cost him the position, as now Alex Guyon has inherited P4 after that mistake.
And Alex just taking spot after spot here and not having to do any of the work. So that'll make him smile for sure. Hall, in the meantime, is going to want to hold on to this because he's up to a top 5, but he started in 13th. Fantastic stuff from the 911. Wood's going to try and deny him of that. As you can see him just holding on to the gearbox of that orange and black car. Doesn't get enough of a run down the back stretch, as they both take drastically different lines through madness.
Yeah, Wood there really just trying to maximize as much momentum as he can on the exits of those corners. You can see there the differing lines that you can take through that corner there into 9. He's going to be able to keep the power nice and steady there through 9. He is within striking distance. Once again, Joe, this is going to come down to how he can handle the carousel and how he can handle turn 1 of where he can make the passes. There you see Hall getting a little bit sideways.
And we red mist has got to be down for Andrew Wood after making mistakes and handing over valuable spots. Going up to that critical corner 1. Looking a little bit better, closer to that apex curb. You can see the momentum that's got him as he closes down in, and he's going to look for it. Doesn't close the door quick enough. Matthew Hall still able to fend him off, and off into the dirt goes Andrew Wood, costing himself momentum.
That's going to pin him back just a little bit, over just 2.5 minutes to go here for Wood, so he's really got to put it down. You know, that's about the 5th or 6th time we've watched on screen Andrew Wood taking a different line through turn 1. I don't know if it's his setup or if it's just inherent driving ability, but he seems like he is the only driver that is able to actually keep a good gap through that first corner, Joe.
Laps to go as Serwa has just gone by the line. He got held up by traffic too. It's about 1.1 seconds now between the pair of them. So this is starting to get a little nerve-wracking, I'm sure, for the number 19, still in search of his first victory. There on screen, and how much closer Ike is as well.
Ike's really putting the power down here. About 1 second back now. That is just about the limit of where you're going to start to feel the draft in these cars, so that can certainly help him. You watch him, Serwa getting a little squirrely up over the rise there through China Beach. Here it's all down to Ike. He's been able to take out another 1/10 of a second out of Serwa, as now they work their way over that tricky turn 9 down into Thunder Hill, or Thunder Valley rather. This is going to be all on the line for Ike. We've got about a minute to go.
update. We don't need a replay, but Broomhead made a similar mistake to Chin in turn 1, hit the wall. He's going to have a DNF for today. To the line, and the white flag waves for Surwa, but he's only got 0.6 of a second. That lap traffic really changed the complexion. He watches from behind.
Really did. Here he goes. This is where it's going to be made or lost for Andreas Ike. Can he get a good run through the keyhole? It looks like he does. He's got good mid-corner speed, able to keep it up. He's got it down to about 0.7 of a second here, down to 6.5. He's really going to be pushing everything that he can. You see him trying to maximize as much of that as he can. Down half a second to go here. Here we go, Joe.
Not quite close it. All Surwa has to do is be mistake-free through these last 2 corners. He's got the advantage. He's got the track position. He's got to know that it's nearly impossible to get by on track from here unless something desperate happens from Ike. So as they come off of the leap and through Thunder Valley, it's down to 0.5 of a second. He's close, but he's not close enough. He's off the apex, and now Ike is the one making mistakes. David Surwa has been trying, and finally he will taste victory here at Mid-Ohio.
Great run there for David Surwa, doing exactly what he needs to do, and great run for Andreas Ike to keep up that pressure, as now we've got to wait that 26 seconds we talked about for Nathaniel Ward to cross over the line as he works his way through the carousel now to pick up his podium position.
Nicely done by the 48. Andrew Wood is climbing all over the back of Matthew Hall right now, desperately looking to try and get by, but I don't think he's going to have it. Hall going from 13th to 5th and under severe pressure. My hat is off to him.
As we're now going to follow, here comes Olivier Legault crossing across the line. Here he will finish in P10, followed by that looked like it was McLaughlin behind him in 11.
Got a little bit of battle between Gore and Wildridge. Gore just got 14th spot. This is one of the last runners on the lead lap. Wildridge looking left and right, hoping he can find somewhere through. The teammate of Gore, Gunderson, starting to approach them. And I don't think there's anything to be done, unfortunately, for Paul, as Tyler will claim 14th, 15th for Wildridge, 16th for Gunderson. That's the last of our lead lap drivers, so we're going to take a break. We'll come back not only with the unofficial results, but we'll have driver interviews, so stick around. Welcome back to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, where round 8 of the PRL Indy Pro 2000 series finally went to David Surwa for the first time. He started in second, but he managed to avoid what Chin wasn't able to, which was a wreck. And David Surwa cruised it home. with Andreas Eick chasing him, but at 3/10 back, doesn't matter how far behind. All that matters is Serrois takes the points and the victory. Nathaniel Ward very distant in third, but still a nice, calm, cool, collected run. And Alex Guyon bumps his way up to fourth as everybody else kept slipping off track. Matthew Hall, similar situation from 13th to 5th. Of course, Andrew Wood probably kicking himself with a sixth place that could have been potentially as high as a podium. Jean-Francois Mattei was back there in seventh, followed by Eric LeBlanc. Bit of an anonymous race for him, but a good point stay in eighth. Aaron Roofs finished ninth, another one that probably was thinking a lot more was on par for him if he hadn't have made mistakes. And then Olivier Legault rounds out your top 10.
Coming home in 11th is Owen McLaughlin in front of Dave Peterson. That is the battle for the AM Championship right there. Following them, David Rodriguez and Tyler Gore. Paul Wildridge in 15th, Matthew Gunderson in 16th. Declan Eady a lap down after that early on incidents in 17th, followed by Donald Olson and Sean Duhamel in 18th and 19th. And in 20th, 2 laps down, was Michael Broomhead.
There on down, it's not quite DNF, say Bear 21st, Chin 22nd. He did finish the race, but it was 4 laps down. Behind him, all drivers that unfortunately called it a day early. So we have our winner ready to talk to us, David Serrois, who has been looking for this victory for many, many rounds. And my first question, David, is it champagne or Labatt that's being sprayed now?
Well, it's champagne for me.
Congratulations, sir. Is this just a huge relief after looking for that victory so many times this season?
No, not really. As long as I'm on the podium, I'm very happy. Usually, because fighting with guys like Joshua Chin and Andreas Eick and Declan Eady, it's I'm very happy if I can follow them and if I can steal a podium from them. So a win is just like we say in French, la cerise sur le sundae.
Awesome stuff. Well, you've actually got an oval round coming up next. I believe it's the last one of the season at Richmond, considering you did fairly decently last time at the last oval. Do you have high hopes heading off to Virginia?
That's an oval, I think. I don't have any hopes for ovals because we always need some luck to perform well on oval. And oval has never been where I perform the best. So I think I will be good for a podium finish. So yeah, I think it's going to be fine.
Well, out free, and hopefully we will get to talk to you for that podium.
Thank you, guys.
David Serrois, our winner here today. It appears neither of the other drivers are all that interested in talking to us. Maybe they're also just out enjoying their win. We're going to close up then with a big thank you to the sponsor of the series, Butt Kicker. If you want to check out their products and help up your game on your sim rig, they are at thebuttkicker.com. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast. We've got them listed on the screen along with June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out our Bandcamp if you want to see what kind of stuff that you can get from her. And also thanks to the team, DJ, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Our social media includes Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. The next race, as we mentioned, is at Richmond, and it seems the championship is going to at least be a little bit closer when we get there. Thursday, November 19th at 9 p.m. Eastern is when that goes live. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen. Check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But in just a few moments' time, we're going retro racing for Lionheart Retro in the Lotus 79. That'll be at Laguna Seca at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. But until next time, race clean, race hard. See you on the track.